Okay, cool. So we have here a piece of 12-3, or I'm sorry, 12-2 Romex with a ground. Okay, so what does 12-2 mean? You guys remember that? Remember we were covering that during safety?
Gauge.
Means the gauge, so it means it's 12 gauge wire with 2 wires in it plus a ground wire. Okay, I'm going to cut this with a razor knife. I'm going to cut away from myself to make sure that I'm not, I don't want to cut myself. I'm kind of tender like that. Okay, I peel that back. I don't want to go too crazy with this. Electrical code states that we cannot have any of this sheathing off if it's outside of this box. Okay, so whenever the electrical code inspector comes in, they're going to be looking for things like that. Okay, I don't want this to be out here in my way though, so I am going to cut that part of it off. Okay, now if Colin was here closer, I really wouldn't want to be cutting towards him either, so we need to be aware of that. Okay, so now I've got these 3 wires. They're sticking out here. That's great, right? I've got my wire strippers. I'm going to take the lock off of these. Because it is 12 gauge wire, I'm going to go to the number 12 on here. I'm going to come down here about a 1/2 inch. Okay, about a 1/2 inch. Somewhere in there, maybe a little bit more. Okay, squeeze these down, give it a little bit of a twist, and then I'm going to pull that off. Okay, comes right off of there. I'm going to do the same thing to the white wire, the neutral wire, the return wire. Okay, boom. Got those all off of there. Great. All right, I'm ready to go. These are now going to go into my first box. Coming in through the back side here. It's going to come in, set up right here. Okay, I've got a switch. This is a single pole switch, so that means it has one side going in, one side going out. Okay, so a single pole going in, single pole going out. So what this will do is just like what we had on our circuit, it's going to break that. On the inside of that, it breaks that circuit in here. These have been used quite a bit, but these are originally gold screws that are on these. Gold screws are always hooked up to our hot wires. Okay? The black wire, it's our hot wire, it's always going to be hooked up to the gold screws on whatever our elements are here, like whether it's a switch, whether it's a receptacle, whether it's a socket. We're going to look for the gold screws on there. Okay? All right. We've got this. This hot wire is going to go around this. So what I want to do is I want to take the tip of the needle nose pliers. I want to have it on the tip of the wire right here. And I'm going to turn this thing clockwise, right? Because I've got it in my right hand. I'm going to turn this clockwise just to make a little loop. Okay? Something about like that. All right? And then something else I do, I want to tilt that back just a little bit. It helps me to hook that onto the screw. These hooks always have to go around the screw clockwise. Okay? I want it to go around clockwise. The reason I want it to go around clockwise is because as I tighten up the screw, that means it's going to pull that in there tighter, close to the middle of the screw. If I put it on there counterclockwise, it's going to push it out. Okay? So right here I've got my switch. It does not matter which side I go to, so you're going to think about what's convenient for you as the electrician. Okay? I'm going to take this, pulling that out, looping that around there. Okay, looks pretty good. I'm going to tighten this down. Okay, sticking up there a little bit. I can use my pliers and kind of help with that a little. Squeeze that down. Don't go too crazy on that. You'll tear up your switch. Tighten that down. That's our first step. Okay. So just like on our diagram here, so coming out of that would be this part here, right? This would be the part going out to the source. This is our switch, so kind of inside where that box is. I'm going to have another wire coming over to here. So that's where this wire is going to come into play. And it's already got some sheathing pulled off, so I get to cheat a little bit, I guess. These have a lot pulled off. See how those are? We're going to fix this. So this is what I said. Don't cheat off your neighbor. So the same thing, like don't cheat off the person that may have done this last year, because this is incorrect. If the inspector comes in and sees that, they're going to freak out, because guess what? If I have more exposed inside that, even though it's inside that box, as this gets shifted around and these touch together, then we got sparks. Okay, it's going to short out, and well, that's not good. We don't want that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hook up this side. It's going to come in through here. We'll fix that a little bit later. Okay, this is going to come in. Coming around to this side, that's fine, cool. All right, so this is already looped up. Shifting this around. looped around. Tighten that up. You see, man, if you guys saw that from my perspective, as soon as I hit that, that kind of really sucked that in and around. Okay? All right? A lot of times what I'll do, if I've got a box that's really has a lot of wires or something in it, I'll take electrical tape and just run around this, because think about it, this right here is hot. If anything metal touches that, you're going to have sparks. Okay? So I may wrap a little piece of electrical tape around that just to protect that. We probably don't need to in this case. Okay? All right. So coming back, we don't have any kind of a switch or anything on that blue wire there, the white, what represents the white wire. So we're just going to connect those together. So Tim, inside that bottom box next to you, there's some wire nuts. Get a yellow wire nut out of there. So a yellow wire nut is made to put two 12-2 wires together. A red wire nut is made to put 3 or 4 12-2 wires together. Okay. So all we're going to do, we're going to make sure that those two are about the same length at the end, okay? And then we're just going to put them side by side, and I'm just going to tighten that down. They just screw onto. So just tighten that down. Now I'm going to take a look at this. If I see copper, I probably need to shorten those up. Colin, do you see copper? Yes. I see a little bit of copper too. So we're going to take that back off of there, and I'm just going to take the cutters on my needle pliers, or you got them on your strippers, and I'm just going to trim those off there. Now always be careful with that, because these things shoot everywhere. That's something where you may want eye protection, or a lot of times what I do is I just put my hand over them, just like that, and that way they don't come shooting off of there. Stab me in the eye. And I have to be a pirate. Okay, cool. All right. So now I've got the two hot wires, one coming in, one going out. I've got the two return wires connected. This will work essentially right now. But I want this protected, so I'm going to have the grounds hooked up as well. Now this one ground is a little weird here. It looks like they've cut this off a little bit. So it's going to be difficult to try to put both of these onto this one ground screw here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to steal off the other end of this one, because we've got to trim these up anyways, and I'm going to make what they call a jumper wire here. We're just going to trim that all the way back that far. Okay, so now I've got this jumper wire, and it's okay. The grounds are not going to have a coating on them, because the only time it's going to have current run through it is in an emergency situation. Okay, something's really bad if it actually is has current going through it. Okay, I'm hooking that around. It's going to go onto my green screw, because that's the ground screw. I've got that hooked on here. I'm going to tighten that down. A little hard to do backwards. Okay. Make sure that's good and snug. Okay, so we're good and snug. Now what I want to do is I want to take those 3 wires and put a nut on all 3 of those together. So Tim, you got a red one now? This may be difficult for this one. So it's really best, as you're examining your wires that you're going to use, make sure all 3 are the same length. I didn't do that. Huh?
Are you going to cut them?
How am I going to cut these?
I said, are you?
I don't know. Maybe. We may have to. It's a good question. Because see, what happens is if they're not all the same length and they're kind of all jammed in here, then the yeah, I am going to cut them. The nut tends to pop off of there. All right, thank you, sir. I think I'm going to video in here every day. You guys are the quietest you've ever been. All right, so I'm tightening this up. Cool. That's good and snug. You don't want to go crazy, but you want to make it sure it's snug. You don't want it just falling off of there. This is good to go. All right, on a normal basis, like if I was doing this in a house, this would all want to be folded back and go on the inside of our box here. So this is going to fold and go in here. This is going to fold and go this way. I try to separate those as much as possible, and then it's going to line up because there's 2 screws that are going to mount this thing inside the box. And then there's a cover that goes over that to make sure, you know, little kids don't put their fingers in here. Okay, I don't need you guys putting the screws and stuff in there because I want to be able to examine your work, okay, and make sure that I'm not going to get shocked. Okay, I'm accustomed to being alive, so. All right, so I'm just going to cut this off, and we're going to restart this end here because it's kind of all funky and crazy. Turn that off. Cool. Same thing, going to 12 gauge, we're just trimming off about a 1/2 inch. 12 gauge, trimming off about a 1/2 inch. So these have screws on both sides. One is gold. Which wires go on the gold screws?
Hot.
The hot ones. What color is the hot wire?
Black.
The black one is, yes. And then it has a silver screw. So the silver screw is going to have the return wire on it, the white wire. Okay? So I'm going to loop both of these over. Both of them are getting loopy now. Look out. Okay, so here we go. Still same rule, we're going to go around them clockwise. Do or don't have to make the sound effect, it's up to you. I think it helps. Alright, cool. Now this is a plastic fixture. They don't have any kind of place for a ground here. Usually what they're going to have, this is also a plastic box. Usually what you'll have it in a metal box, this will actually connect to the metal box. They'll have a place there for you to connect onto. I really don't have any place for this to connect on in this sense. Whenever we add a receptacle onto this, we're gonna put these together with a wire nut to go over to our receptacle because it does have a place for that ground to be able to hook up. Okay? All right, so we're just going to hold still for now. And I got ahead of myself going crazy because I didn't even put that through the box. Don't do that. Okay, so I'll jump back a step here. Take those loose. Okay. So on the other end here, we're going to peel that back and we're going to have that to where they're just straight, only a 1/2 inch showing on each of those wires. And then basically what's going to happen is whenever you come over to be tested, so this is good to go here. Okay, we're going to peel that down. We'll put a light bulb in that. So basically whenever you come over to be tested, I'm going to have an end sitting there. You're just going to go black to black, white to white, ground to ground. Okay? All right? And you're just going to take the yellow wire nuts, put those together, and then I'll plug that in and test it out and see how you did. I'm going to definitely want to look it over first to be sure that it's wired correctly. Questions? Clarifications? Weird comments?
Reese?
Okay.
I'm good.
Good. Cut.
Quit recording, stupid.